Hunter x Hunter, episode 13 through 24. Previously, Gon is an ambitious 12-year-old boy who hasn't seen his dad since he was but an infant. His father, being a hunter, left on an adventure and never came back home once. To search for him, Gon decides to take the hunter's license exam so that he may become a hunter and get one step closer to finding his old man. On his journey there, he meets a man aspiring to become a doctor named Leorio, and another young boy slightly older than him, who happens to be a survivor of the extinct Kurta clan. His name is Kurapika, and all three of them get acquainted on the ship. The group then meets a young boy, equally as strong and free-willed as Gon. He goes by the name of Killua. Now, these four team up together until the competition allows them to face the challenges of the difficult and deadly Hunter's License exam. So far, 3 phases of the exam have been cleared by the gang as they have passed through numerous obstacles to finally get a breath of fresh air. Episode 14. Gon and the others arrived last from Trick Tower. Including them, 24 participants remain in the game. They are all congratulated by Lipo on making it here, and he tells them that there's now only 2 phases that remain. For the 4th phase, they are all set to go to Zevil Island. They are called upon to draw lots in the order that they exited the tower. Everyone draws a tag for himself. They are all then instructed to remove the tape. This reveals a number. Their number is their target in the next phase of the test. They are supposed to gather 6 points. The opponent's tag is worth 3 points. Their own tag is also worth 3 points, as long as they hold on to it. And the rest of them are all worth 1 point each. Anyone who has 6 points at the end of the day qualifies for the final phase automatically. Our boys wonder if they'll have to fight each other, and Kurapika points out that it's certainly a possibility. Gon recognizes that his target is Hisoka. Killua calls him unlucky for that, and they all reach Zevil Island. They are supposed to enter the island in the order they exited the tower, and there will be a 2-minute time interval between every person that goes out. Once they reach the island, Gon wonders how he can get Hisoka's tag and tries to figure out a strategy. He sees a very good scene while hanging from the tree, as one of the participants captures his target's tag by hiding his presence. He hopes to do the same, and thus starts practicing on the birds. For Hisoka, he fails again and again to capture the birds, and just before he's about to give up, he sees the bird catching a fish. As the fish was aiming for its own prey, he decides to use the same strategy on Hisoka. Episode 15. On Leorio's end, he almost gets trapped by Tonpa as he tells him about his target Ponzu and tries to steal his badge, but Kurapika saves the day. He reveals that Tonpa was his target, and thus both of our boys decide to form an alliance as they are both not each other's target. Cutting to Gon, he notices that his hands are blistered from all of the bird catching practice he's been doing, especially since he found out about the trick to lure the target with bait. That attracts some blood-crazy butterflies as he's bleeding somewhat from the hands. He then remembers that Hisoka has a wound on his shoulder that he got in the trick tower, so he decides to use them to get to Hisoka. He gets to him and he finally has a chance to steal his tag, so he hides in the bushes and waits for the right time to strike. Hisoka, however, notices something in the bushes and walks towards him. Gon apparently thinks that he has noticed him, but it actually turns out to be another participant. He fights Hisoka one-on-one and badly loses. Hisoka doesn't kill him, however, as that would satisfy the man, so he makes one final suicide charge towards him, but is struck by a needle from Gitaker, another participant. As the needle man comes towards Hisoka, he removes the needles and transforms into someone else entirely. He then digs a hole and decides to go to sleep for the rest of the day, as he's gotten enough tags. Episode 16. The next day, still on Hisoka's tail, Gon keeps waiting for his chance, but this time Hisoka eyes up at both Kurapika and Leorio. He tells them that he needs 2 more tags to complete his own points, as neither of them are his target. However, Kurapika wants to negotiate. He offers a few tags he has of his own that are useless to him, but the madman doesn't want it any other way. But seeing their will to fight, he decides to take them in the end. The next day, as Hisoka is lusting for blood, Gon knows that as soon as he runs into someone, it's time to strike. After a while, he senses another guy, Agon, coming towards him. He gets to a point where they will intersect, and uses the chance provided by Hisoka's blind bloodlust to take his tag. He makes a run for it, but falls down, as a man named Garetta has injected poison into him. He mocks Gon and tries to leave, but Hisoka comes and kills him. He gives Gon his own tag, as he doesn't need it anymore, since Garetta was his target, but Gon refuses. However, he is forced to accept it. This leads him to sulking later that night. Episode 17. Cutting to Killua, he runs into a band of brothers who have been stalking him for many days now. He gets frustrated waiting for them to attack, and thus decides to take the attack to them. They try many different approaches approaches, but it's all useless as the difference is too great in their abilities. Killua then takes the tag he needs and throws the ones he doesn't far away. He does it because he spotted Hanzo and didn't want to give him the tag he wanted. Cutting to the pair of Kurapika and Leorio, they meet Gon at the starting point and ask him if he knows anything about Leorio's target, Ponzu. He uses her scent to get to her, but they all reach a cave and get trapped in it. Ponzu explained that she got trapped by a man named Bourbon too, so they are all now stuck here as the man who said it is already dead. Episode 18. Ponzu goes to explain how the situation is impossible to get out of, as the snakes will attack anyone who tries to get outside or touches Bourbon. However, a solution needs to be found, as Leorio doesn't have much time since he was bitten by a snake while trying to get out of the cave. Gon takes a risk and searches Bourbon for the antidote. He gets a lot of snake bites all over his body, but he finds it. Thanks to that, both of them are now safe. He then asks Ponzu to use her sleeping gas if she has one on the snakes, so that they can get out. She tells them that they can only use it if one of them can hold their breath for 5 minutes, as that's how long it'll take for snakes to fall asleep. Gon decides to do it and successfully rescues them all. All of the boys pass the exam and are finally through the final phase of the test. The chief has a word with everyone and reveals the bracket for the finals, as it's a fighting tournament. Episode 19. It's revealed to everyone that the bracket is set for the losers to advance, so all of the participants become hunters except one. The first match begins and it's between Gon and Hanzo. Gon is completely outclassed, but he still persists. Hanzo constantly tells him to give up, as killing means disqualification, but he doesn't agree. In the end, Gon tells him about his father and his dream to become a hunter, and in a very cringe fashion, he wins the match as Hanzo knocks him out and decides to withdraw. Episode 20. Gon wakes up and Satots is sitting beside him with his hunter license as he congratulates him on passing the exam. However, Gon is not happy with it. He tells him that he cannot fail and he can do whatever he wants with the license, so he accepts it. Satots then tells him about what happened to the others, as he tells him that Kurapika won against Hisoka after he whispered something in his ears. While Killua was the one who was eliminated, Gitaker was actually Illumi, Killua's older brother. He gaslights Killua into killing Leorio's opponent, Botaro, in the middle of the fight and gets disqualified as he threatened to kill Gon. Killua, only wanting Gon's safety and being scared of Illumi, decided to listen to whatever he had to say. So, everyone else passed, while Killua failed. So, back to the present. Gon decides to meet Illumi before he leaves. Episode 21. Gon confronts Illumi about his friend and tells him that he has no right to manipulate him. He breaks his arm as they talk, and Illumi simply denies all allegations. He then casually tells him where Killua went, while Kurapika and the others are still in a meeting with Netero regarding the disqualification of Killua. Despite many arguments on the matter, Netero declares that there were no clear signs of manipulation, and thus, Killua will remain disqualified. Cutting to Illumi and Hisoka, he tells them that the whole world knows where his family, the Zoldycks, live. So, it doesn't matter if Gon knows too. However, he wants to kill Gon as he might become a problem later on, but Hisoka gives him a death look and warns him. Meanwhile, Gon and the others head to Kukuru Mountain, Killua's house. As they leave, Satots mentions the hunter exam is still not over. Episode 22. As the group arrives in the front mansion where Killua lives, they come across the big testing gate. They try to open it, but it's apparently locked. They try to open the gate on the side and are greeted by an elderly butler. He lets them in, but they're scared by the big dog at the entrance. It's then that they realize they need to be strong enough to open the testing gate. The old man mentions that Killua opens the gates from 1 to 3. That makes 16 tons. Each gate weighs 2 tons. Gon tries to enter other ways around the situation, but fails. In the end, they give up and decide to do it the fair way. Episode 23. They decide to stay the night. When they wake up, they start training and waiting for Gon's left arm to heal, as they got injured in the Hanzo fight. They train, and finally, they are able to open the first gate while working together. As they say goodbye to the family butler named Zebro, they are blocked by yet another butler named Canary. Viction reaches her heart as she decides to let them pass, but then she is attacked by Killua's mother. On Killua's end, he is being tortured by his brother Miluki. He wants him to apologize to their mother. Back at Gon's end, the group receives a message from Killua's mom that says Killua told them to go back as he doesn't have any friends. The group then tries to figure out whether it's true or not. Episode 24. Kikyo, Killua's mother, tells them to leave as he is confined alone. However, Zeno, Killua's grandfather, lets him out of there. Miluki persists that he hasn't learned his lesson, but he pays her no mind. Killua is then summoned by his father, Silva. Both of them share some quality father-son time, while Kikyo watches in displeasure. Meanwhile, Gon and the others are making their way through the mansion now, thanks to Canary's help. Silva asks Killua about his friend, and when they say he wants to go, he lets him, but he makes him a promise that he will never betray them. And with that promise, he decides to go. Kikyo then starts yelling at Silva, and later reveals that he believes Killua will definitely be back as the family leader one day. Many more adventures await our heroes. Stay tuned for more episodes. The end.